My husband, Ty Woods, was a Navy SEAL and a fierce patriot. He was killed during the attack in Benghazi while saving American lives under the charge of our State Department. When Hillary Clinton was challenged by Congress on who was to blame for the attack, her response was a disgrace. We need a leader who tells it like it is, who will have our backs. A leader we can trust to tell the truth. That leader is Donald Trump.
And that is a portion of a Great America PAC ad that, of course, featured Dorothy Woods, the widow of Ty Woods, a former Navy SEAL killed during the Benghazi attack. The pro-Trump super PAC urges voters to take a closer look at Hillary Clinton's record as Secretary of State. Of course, the concern is that she will continue to, quote, lead from behind policies that obviously cost 4 brave Americans their lives in Benghazi. For more on this, we're pleased to be joined now from the Philadelphia Convention Hall, where the Democrats are holding their convention. We have with us the retired Army Ranger, the security and military consultant, Kris Paronto. Kris, of course, chairman of the new group called Leading from the Front, and he was part of that CIA Annex Security Team in Benghazi. Hey, Tonto, thanks so much for your time tonight on Newsmax Prime.
Hey, thanks, Congressman. I appreciate you having me on again, and God bless you for running that clip. Dorothy's a hero in her own right.
And before we get back to those fateful events, I'd be remiss if I didn't get your reaction to the latest ISIS attack in France. 2 ISIS attackers took churchgoers hostage during a morning mass and killed the priest. Is this the new normal worldwide? Are we going to suffer this same kind of fate in the United States?
You know what, if we still don't tighten up our vetting system, we don't tighten up or be more strict allowing the immigrants, allowing Muslim and Islamic immigrants in, we will. It's not a question of not allowing them. We're a country that we want to be good to people, we want to be good to others, but you can't fully vet. And the best thing terrorists do is they blend. And we'll find ourselves in those same situations that you find in France and that you just found in Germany just a while ago with the priest that had his head cut off. That's just breaking news I saw 30 minutes ago.
Tonto, I've got to ask you about the fact that you're at the Democrat convention tonight, and the latest Gallup poll shows that Mrs. Clinton's unfavorable ratings are at an all-time high. For Mrs. Clinton, 57% of Americans just don't seem to trust her to lead this country. Does that surprise you in any way?
No, it doesn't surprise me. What surprises me, or I should say it's more enlightening than anything, is people are starting to finally wake up and seeing that she does not tell the truth, first of all, that she manipulates the system, that she utilizes people to obtain votes, whether it's groups or whether it's genders or so forth. And I think people are finally starting to see her in her own light. And she's not a good leader. She's a failure as a leader. And Benghazi is one of those instances where she did fail as a leader. And then she said the ball wasn't mine to carry. So basically she passed the buck as a leader as well. That's not the characteristics as a leader that I want to see as President of the United States.
Tonto, of course, perhaps most infamous was her testimony before the Senate committee back in 2003. Let's look at it once more, and I want to get your reaction.
The fact is, we had 4 dead Americans. Was it because of a protest, or was it because of guys out for a walk one night who decided they'd go kill some Americans? What difference at this point does it make?
When you hear those words from 2013, do they continue to shock you?
They anger me. Not anymore does anything she says shocks me. Because she utilizes what she can to manipulate the voters. And those that are uninformed, those that are informed know that it did make a difference. Those that are informed knows that it did affect people, and it affected women. It affected mothers and wives. See Dorothy, see Pat Smith, see Cheryl Bennett, Ty's mom. So I can't say it shocks me at all. Anything that comes out of her that doesn't put her up on a pedestal or doesn't support whatever cause she may have at that point in time, that doesn't surprise me. It disappoints me and it sickens me, but surprise is not a word for it.
Tonto, I just want to get this straight. Does she deserve the blame for what happened in Benghazi?
Yes, being a leader, you do. A leader, and I'll say this again and again, I've said it 100 times, the success or failure of any operation, any mission, any job falls on the highest chain of command. She was the highest chain of command within the State Department. It was a State Department operation. Yes, the fault lies with her, and that's where the buck needs to stop.
Well, Donald Trump yesterday spoke before the Veterans of Foreign Wars. I beg your pardon, actually it was this morning down in Charlotte, and he warned what a Hillary Clinton presidency might portend for veterans and for our nation. Let's look and listen.
We know how she takes care of the veterans. Just look at her invasion of Libya and her handling of Benghazi, a disaster. Or look at her emails, which put America's entire national security at risk.
Lock her up! Lock her up!
Some in the crowd there, Tonto, shouting, "Lock her up." Your reaction to both those statements and what Mr. Trump had to say this morning?
Well, I think a lot of us, and I shouldn't say I think, a lot of us that are veterans, a lot of us in the military service want a commander-in-chief that backs us up, that has our six, and we know that Hillary will not. She's already proven that by not allowing support to come help us that night when we had been requesting for up to 8 hours, by trying to decide what clothes the Marines should have worn. I don't think she has our back. I think is not the word. I know she doesn't have her back, and the veterans and a lot of people that are in the military feel the same way. Doesn't mean they need to stop serving. Serving your country is an honorable profession, and I always will push that to the youth. But you got to know that, hey, if she is commander-in-chief, rely on your buddies more than ever, because your commander-in-chief is not going to have your back.
We just saw some of that footage from that fateful night in Benghazi, and we saw Mrs. Clinton and her running mate taking the stage, I believe, in Miami Saturday. Now on Sunday, Mrs. Clinton was asked during that interview on 60 Minutes from CBS News, Mrs. Clinton was asked if she takes responsibility for what happened in Benghazi. Here's the way she responded.
We had horrible losses in Beirut when Ronald Reagan was president. One of my favorite former predecessors, George Shultz, was Secretary of State. We had a Democratic Congress. They didn't politicize it.
So she's saying this whole thing's just politicized.
No, it's not politicized. It's trying to get to the truth. It's trying to hold her accountable. And those attacks as well, I think if we go back, we'll probably see that those in charge did take some responsibility and didn't lie to the family members overtly on TV. Didn't tell the family members it was due to a video or a protest and that they were going to get to the bottom of the videographer. It's the accumulation of lies that have gone on from the attack that has set us forward, and it keeps me on the warpath, which is what I'm on, to continue to hold her accountable and have people realize that she is not going to be a good commander-in-chief if she's elected, and we're going to be in a world of hurt, and we're going to see more attacks on this soil if she's president of the United States.
And Tonto, that leads us with 1:30 remaining in this portion of our program to talk about your new organization, Leading from the Front. Tell me why you founded this organization and what are the goals of it?
Well, Leading from the Front was first made, and what it brought about was because it was an anti-terrorism movement. It was to bring issues to politicians. It didn't matter if you're a Democrat or Republican, that terrorism is a real problem, and it's a real threat to our society, how we live in the United States. It's also for me to be out front because I've been in the middle of terrorist activities for 10 years. I think I have an idea of what they're capable of, and to be that lightning rod. So the movement is to put me out front. I'll be the guy that's going to take the hit and attack the politicians that aren't taking terrorism seriously, and be the focal point to the media that doesn't care for my views or doesn't care for the people in America's views. That's what it's to enforce. So that movement there is just to keep people accountable, and it's hopefully we can get enough support that we can start driving policy, anti-terrorism policy, policy against jihadism, policy against Sharia law. That's what it's there for. But we have to build a good base, and we're on the road to the right track right now, but we need to continue on. And actually, leading from the front, it's different from leading from behind. I want to be the guy out front, that if there's going to be any issue with people taking particular issue towards me or threats from terroristic activities, they come to me, and I'm the one that's going to take the hit, because that's what leaders do for their country.
And Tonto, we appreciate you being front and center with us tonight from Convention Hall in Philadelphia. Kris Paronto with us, his new organization, Leading from the Front. Thanks so much. That'll do it for tonight. We'll see you back here tomorrow night. Stay brave, stay free, stay tuned.